Hamza, I was talking to Abdullah about taxes and the responsibility of paying or not paying taxes. Here. He says a Muslim is not, you're not responsible to pay taxes if you don't have to. And I said, is this because it's a non-Muslim country? He says, no, even in a Muslim country, taxes of the state, if you can avoid paying it, you don't pay it.
What's called income tax in classical Islam is definitely prohibited. Yeah, there's no income tax in Islam. Again, by Sharia, you cannot jeopardize yourself. So there's an example where a darura would override. Do you see what I mean? In other words, if by not paying taxes you are going to jeopardize your freedom, you'll be incarcerated. Your family will not have a provider. Then that's a worse evil than the evil of taxes. Do you see what I mean? So I think you have to be really careful with that. Yeah. The best thing you do is just live very frugally, make less than $10,000 a year, and you don't have to pay taxes.
Isn't that because the obligations that God will take care of?
No, I don't think so. I mean, zakat. Certainly, if agricultural zakat is implemented, you will not have want in food. Most definitely. If agricultural zakat was implemented in the Muslim world, you would not have any want anywhere on the planet. Right? So agricultural zakat definitely eliminates poverty. 10 or 5% depending on what type of irrigation you use. And then also livestock. There's zakat on livestock. In terms of the wealth, actually, 1/40th is a lot. If you took 1/40th of the Muslim capital wealth in the world, you're dealing with massive amounts of capital. Massive. 1/40th of... I mean, if you just took 1/40th of capital wealth of Arabia alone, seriously, you're dealing with massive wealth. And then also, I think there's a strong argument, rikaz in the Hanafi madhab, buried treasure, minerals and things like that, is 20% wealth. And some say no, it completely goes to the Bayt al-Mal that it's for. So mineral wealth would be for the good of the society. Right? But historically there have been very few instances when the Muslims lived without taxes. Very few. The Murabitun period was one of them. Taxes over and above the Sharia taxes. Right.
You mentioned that the paper money is related to riba.
Right.
Can you explain how exactly it's related?
That's a whole...
Can you give me some general...
Well, I mean, at the most basic level is that, the U.S. government presents a budget, and then the budget, they're allowed to print money, they're allowed to spend money based on interest-bearing bonds, treasury bonds. They're called treasury bonds. Solomon Brothers is a major trader in treasury bonds. They sell them to the Americans, they sell them to the Japanese, before, and to the Arabians. Before income tax, which is 1913, right? The income tax law is enacted. Before income tax, this country supported itself through bonds, right? So patriotic Americans would buy, when there was a need, like if there was a war, they would have war bonds, and you would buy war bonds that would support the government's activities, right? So graduated income tax, which is, it's a communist idea originally. That's one of the points of the Communist Manifesto, was to introduce graduated income tax into society.
The mosque requesting that you pay your zakat to the masjid.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. You can pay your zakat as long as they're following the 8 categories of people that are worthy of zakat. You can pay your zakat to your own relatives. In fact, your relatives have more right to your zakat than other people.
You need.
Yeah, if they have need. I mean, you can't just give. No, there has to be real need there. Because that's a hila, that's like a way of trying to abuse the sharia, to give it. Some people, they give it their wife. A'udhu billah. Hurub. So
what about the fatwa that they made in Al-Azhar about riba, that you can, as far as banks concerned, that it's not riba if you deal with bank or something like this?
that's a modern, it's a modern fatwa. Muhammad Abdu started that whole idea.
But it's not. You don't see that as right.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about money being riba, were you talking about like money we use in stores and?
Yeah, the paper money that we have is founded on it's an interest-based money, right? In other words, it's printed out of. I mean, even banks. If you put $1 into a bank, the bank can literally produce $20 out of nothing. It happens every day.
You mean not the money itself, just the way you use it is riba, no?
Yeah, but it represents interest-bearing. The actual foundation of the money is based on interest-bearing bonds. You see, so the money is only issued because it has. Yeah, bartering. I mean, traditional Islamic money is gold, silver, and bartering, traditionally. And the Sharia does not recognize paper money unless it's backed by gold or silver.
Gold and silver, I mean, that's like if you look at the stock market and the exchange and the rate on gold and silver, I mean, wouldn't that be riba too?
That's because we're living in artificial economies. If gold is your standard, you see, then the gold does not fluctuate a great deal unless there is an introduction of gold into the economy, like a new discovery. For instance, if mines are discovered somewhere and there's a lot of gold introduced into the economy, circulation, then that will cause a temporary fluctuation. But generally, gold and silver maintain their. So what we're seeing in the fluctuations of gold and silver is artificial, because it doesn't represent the true value of gold and silver, which are intrinsic. It's only gauging them by the dollar, which has no intrinsic worth whatsoever. Its worth is based on the trust of the people in the economy, based on the amount of circulation, right? Inflation. I mean, these are all mechanisms that are being gauged by the Federal Reserve Bank and things like that.
Because you're working on a necessity using the dollar, then would it not be counted as riba?
Well, it's not, inshallah, it's not a wrong action because it's a darura, right? That's an example of usar, where amma al-balwa. But the Muslims are supposed to try to find ways to get out of those type situations if they can.